patient. We're just waiting for two more members to get here.
It's someone on a kick scooter in front of me.
Any other day but right now. So I'm only mad at it today. In 20 minutes or so, whenever this meeting's over, I'll let you the same person out there. Just us two now? Oh, that's right, I saw that.
Good afternoon. The Gibraltar Zoning Board of Appeal meeting is now called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Secretary, would you please read the roll?
Harris.
Here.
Markham. McCarthy.
Here.
Olson.
Here.
Defend. Eager.
Here.
So we need a motion to excuse Mr. Markham and Mr. Defend.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And we need a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, who is the second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
And then we need a motion to approve the ZBA minutes from July 1st of '25. They were pretty lengthy, too.
I will make that motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
Second. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. New business tonight. First up is a variance request for Adam Dudek. And if you'd like to step up and give us your address and tell us what you'd like to do.
I live at 14103 Middle Gibraltar Road. The back of my property is backed up to the new tennis courts, I guess we'll call it. What happens is the elevation of the tennis courts is 2 feet higher. I actually taped a marker on my pole, looked, and I can still see everybody's head, still hear their language. You know, so imagine you got 17 kids in your neighbor's backyard. Not once in a year, every day, okay? The language and everything that's coming out of their mouths, they're unattended is the thing, and it's okay. I can't enjoy my backyard. 4-year-old granddaughter, had to bring her in the house. The language was terrible. I have video of them smoking pot. I have video of the language. I mean, it's not a nice, I can't look at it. I can't live there like that. So I need the 8-foot fence to finish blocking it off. Or if the city wants to build a sound barrier up high, 12 feet maybe, that would work too. But I'm willing to put out the money for the fence and give that a try. It's like about 25 grand.
And so currently, the ordinance calls for a 6-foot fence.
6 foot high.
You need a 2-foot variance.
That make up the difference for the elevation of the park.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, how long have you lived there?
30 years.
30 years. Okay. So you know what it was like when it was quiet?
It was a tennis court.
Oh, it was a tennis court?
Yeah, that nobody used.
And now it's a skate park, correct?
Well, the skate park almost put me over the edge, but that was off to the side a little bit. My neighbor's garage and everything kind of helped a little bit, but this is, it's constant. It's just not going away.
Yeah.
And I don't know where all the kids come from. There's a bunch. And I've been calling the police at night because they don't get out when it's dusk. And dusk, the time changes, we know that, but then I was told it's 10 o'clock, so that's fine. I've called at 12:30, I've called at 11:30, I've called at 11:45. They wake me, I put window air conditioners in to try to stop some of this noise, you know, even when it's, just so I can shut the windows, and it doesn't work. So I can still hear them, they still wake me up. I'm hoping the fence is gonna give me the sound barrier that I'm looking for, you know.
Were you thinking about like a decorative PVC fence?
Yeah, it's PVC, it's like it's 2 colors, so, you know, it's gonna be like beige in the middle and then maybe a white, you know, yeah.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, anything else? No?
All right, thank you.
Yeah. And the ball's bouncing. So to be honest with you, it's inside the house with one window open, it's 56 decibels. It varies a little bit, but that's with them yelling and screaming, some F-bombs in there and things of that nature. So it's, the noise even in the house is, with the windows open, is considerable. Yeah.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
At this point, is there any people in the audience that would like to speak on behalf? Please give us your name and address.
Tom Hilbrick, 14131 Middle Gibraltar Road. I live 2 doors down from Adam, and there's a lot of kids there. He deserves some peace and quiet. I don't get it. I have a garage in my backyard, and I gotta say, I'm probably 120 feet away, because there's a 90, then about at least 100 feet away. And I have a garage, and then the church has a garage that kind of blocks. I don't get the noise. We see them out there, and, they're, I don't know. I feel bad for Adam. Like I say, I can't imagine having to put up that noise all night long, so.
Okay.
So I support him. Like I said, I'm 2 doors down. I support it.
All right,
That helps.
all right, appreciate it. Thank you. So I guess if we're looking for a practical we'd be looking for a hardship on this. It's the noise and the nuisance. Yeah, go, please, your name and address.
Hi, my name is Chris Duncan. I live at 29070 Sugar Island Court. I'm the corner house on the way out of the subdivision, so I'm kitty corner from his house. I can hear the basketballs pinging in my driveway, so if I can hear it that far, I know things got to be really loud over there. And every once in a while, you hear kids screaming, and you can't really tell where they're coming from where I'm at, but if all that's going on over there and there's nothing else really around to create all that noise, it's got to be coming from that direction. So I support it too. I have no problem with him wanting to extend the fence line up high to give him some privacy, which makes sense, really. Plus, it's been 30-something years, too. I mean, let's be honest. So that's all I really have to say. I support it.
All right, appreciate it, thank you. We had the same situation at the kayak launch. Remember, he had the same problem, and we granted him a variance for the height. So,
The kayak launch is out of hand.
so.
Yep.
I should say, and I apologize, but we have 4 members tonight, and we just barely have a quorum. So any decision that we make today has to have all 4 yes votes to approve an appeal or a variance. So anytime, if anybody wants to come back next month, you're more than welcome to, just to let you know.
I'm not sure if I'm following.
All 4 of us
All
have to
4
say
of us
yes.
have to vote
There's
yes.
normally
for-
5, right?
Yeah,
Only 5.
we need 4 yes votes. Any questions, you guys?
The language that Jane,
That's no good.
oh, okay. Yeah, we talked about that. Okay, sorry. That's all I have.
Okay.
I just have one, just out of curiosity, what do you have there now? Do you have a chain link or?
It's a 4-foot chain link fence.
Oh, okay,
That was there prior to me when I moved in.
okay, yeah, you get the full extent.
And you're just trying to do it around the back just along the back side of the property, right? You're not trying to do it all the way around the whole property.
I'd like it in the back to help,
Sure.
help reflect some of the noise, and then,
It's what it says here. I just wanted to make sure, because I know like this drawing says, I don't know if it's saying what I think it's saying. I think it says 80 feet, but it might say 8 foot. And I'm like, no, you can't do it 8 foot on both sides. But the back side, I mean, I think we're all ready to vote. You got a hardship here. It sounds pretty fair. I mean, you're not asking for unreasonable things in my eyes.
Yeah, so the variance would read. a
So we
2-foot
would,
variance
I'll let him take over.
On the rear.
we'll need a motion for a variance, to grant the variance for a 24 inches or 2 feet height in the construction of a PVC fence. And note that 2 neighbors spoke positively. We had no negative comments, so we need a motion.
I'll motion it.
I will second it.
Katie, do you want to read the motion back?
To grant the variance to grant the 2-foot variance for the construction of a 8-foot PVC privacy fence.
Sounds good.
Does it need to say along the rear, or does?
The rear yard,
Motion makers in support of that?
Yes.
I was just wondering. I don't know if
Yes.
the language.
In support, yes. In support of that.
Okay.
take the roll, please.
All right. Harris,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Eager.
Yes.
Mr. Dudek, you got your variance, and I hope it works.
Yeah.
All right. Good luck.
Will I get something in the mail, gentlemen?
I don't think so. I think you're okay to do it, and when it goes through the building code and pull the
Yeah,
permit.
I will let the building department know that you've been granted that variance. So, yeah, you're welcome.
Next item under new business is the appeal of the construction of a fence at 30750 Bayview by Stephen Melstein. Please come up and tell us what's going on.
Okay, well, I'm Steve Melmston. I live at 30740 Bayview. And to be honest, I'm really sorry to be here in front of you guys. This is completely avoidable, but here we are. I'm going to try to give you facts and keep emotion and whatnot out of this. So my neighbors decided to put up a fence between the houses on the water side. It started out as a water diverter between the houses. In December of '23, they filed a complaint in the city against my gutters, my downspouts pouring into their yard, which they weren't doing, which I proved to the city, and the city looked at it, sent inspectors. I showed them pictures off of Google.com from 10 years prior, showing the same exact gutters on, the Google Maps. But so on February 1st of '24, the city sent out a letter saying the gutters were okay. On the same day, my neighbors started putting in a wooden fence right on the property line between the two houses. And this fence is constructed out of like 1x2 wooden stakes and scrap pieces of particle board that he had in his garage. And then he put yellow caution tape up, and he started doing all this stuff. I have photos. And at that point, I'd called the city and I told him, he's putting up this wooden fence. And then I told them, I says, if this fence makes him happy, so be it, let it go. And so he put that up and let it go, and then he proceeded to put in zebra grass. And I'm talking the waterfront side of the property, not just between the houses, but to grow, to block the view. And then he started putting in a galvanized fence. Anyway. So there's a little bit of history here, and I'd like to explain it to you. It'd take a few minutes. I moved in that house in 2022. I bought that house from his dad, as a matter of fact. 2002. I'm sorry, 2002.
Keep the comments to the board.
Okay. Actually bought it from Adam's dad.
Sounds good.
So, my neighbors, a couple years later, purchased the house next door and moved in. And after they lived there for a couple years, I came home from work one day and there was a guy starting to put a fence up. And I went back there and I asked him if he had a permit, and he said no. And I told
What
him,
kind of fence was going up at that point?
Actually, he was just starting to measure and run strings, but it was going to be I'd only speculate, but I would assume it was going to be a galvanized chain link fence. So he didn't come back, but the neighbors and I had discussions, and I told them, I first lived in Gibraltar in 1972. I lived on the canal over there on Bayview Street, and I loved it here. I had more fun in Gibraltar than anywhere in my life. Loved the wildlife, the ducks, living on the water. So when we spoke, I told them, I said, I moved here. I've been wanting to move here for years. I said, I moved here to see the ducks, the water, the wildlife, not to look at a galvanized chain link fence. That's not why you move here. And so we talked, and we both decided that I'd never get a dog, they never get a fence. I never got a dog. So years later, 2009, I took a 3-year international assignment at Ford. I worked for Ford to go to Brazil. When I left Brazil, there was no fence there. When I came back and I closed my house down like a cottage, nobody lived there, I didn't rent it. I had somebody would pop in maybe once or every couple months and look at it, but it was empty. And when I came home in July of 2012, there was a fence there, and I wasn't very happy about it. And I talked to the neighbors then. Well, they did on their own decide to take it down because it didn't belong there. And one reason it doesn't belong there is when I moved in 2002, I had to repair the berm. This house and the property line is very unique in Gibraltar. Most berms run parallel with the canal along the property line. Somewhere along the line, when they put the berms in, this house, 3 houses down, the berm angles towards the house. They go in front of my neighbor to the north of me's house, and then my house is, the front of my house is the berm, and it comes, and then it cut diagonally over through their yard back to the berm again. Somebody dug it all out and messed the berm all up. So when I moved in, I was responsible to replace that berm. So I had to put a berm up along that whole, my south property line on the water side is a berm. It's not just a property line. And this, I think I gave you guys copies. This one copy is my proposal for my berm. The cement was, the cinder block, can I approach? May I approach? So if you guys have this is my berm, this is my property, the house. This is my berm along the property line, there's the seawall. And my proposal was to put in this fence right here. And this was my, section drawing. And so working with Charles Raines and the city engineers at the time, they approved my whole berm except for the fence. And the reason being is they told me you cannot have a fence in a berm, not a parallel fence. Like you can, they have the fences that go over the top of the berm, but not parallel with the berm in the back of it. So I was allowed to do the berm, but not the fence. Otherwise, there would have already been a fence there. This drawing here that I believe I included is from the Army Corps of Engineers. Can I approach again? It shows the berm. So Army Corps of Engineers, here's the berm coming up, and then you can see it curves down and it goes right there. So this is the property line we're talking about right here. And my things I did in 2002 brought the berm right to the edge. And so that property line is the back side of my berm, which is made out of womanized wood. I got 2 by 12s, 2 of them stacked up, holding the back side of that berm together, that I have to maintain and spray them with something, linseed oil or something. But
This is you, right?
that's me right here. Yup. So there again, so my first thing is there should be no fence in that berm. That berm should not have a fence in it at all. And they knew that. So when they started putting in the wooden divider between the houses, I started calling the city. And that was on 2/1. 2/26, I called, or 2/6. 2/6, I went in again, talked with Dave, the ordinance, city ordinance. And then finally, they told me, deal with McKenna and Associates. So on 4/1, I took photos, which I think I gave you guys the photos of all my complaints about the fence, and I sent them in an email to McKenna and Associates. That was on April 1st. It's these photos.
24? April 1st to 24?
Of 24. This has been going on. So here's the wooden diverter that they put up with the yellow caution tape. Here's another picture of it. And here's the cyclone fence that they put up. And here's the height. Now, even not to mention the fact that within 24 feet of the seawall, you can't have a cyclone fence. It has to be a decorative fence, and it can't be more than 48 inches tall. These I took because they took plucks out of this zebra grass and put them all along that waterside fence line too. Some of these are pictures of that stuff growing. They did everything they could to obstruct my view. because they're mad at me about these gutters. Mad at me about dogs, fictitious dogs that don't exist. That's before the fence. Oh, no, that's when they're, I brought these photos down, because that's how the law was. So all this stuff was sent to McKenna and Associates on April 8th.
24.
But they were shown to the, here, to the, city manager, the chief of police, everybody, a month before that. And these guys just kept kicking it around the building. I had to talk with everybody in the building. They kicked it all. I feel bad for
You got to
McKenna and
McKenna.
Associates.
So you got to McKenna, and then what happened?
So, they found out there was no permit, so there was a letter then sent to these guys. It says, "It's been observed that you have installed a fence along your property. However, this appears to have been completed without any building permit." Did you guys see? Yeah. So then I have multiple.
So McKenna,
So, everybody that came and looked at it, McKenna, there's so much paperwork here. There's actually so much here. They finally, I'll skip some of this stuff and not to put too many details in it, but there's a lot here. If you guys want to take more time, they finally sent out a letter. Did you guys see these letters?
yes.
They sent this letter to me, telling me I have to take this fence, it's not my, it was they sent it to the wrong person.
Yeah, I saw that, yes.
Yeah, sent an error, I seen that one.
Yep, they never resent it, they sent this to them. And so this is all they ever did, they never did any of these repairs on the fence.
I see that one, that's here.
Yeah, we saw that, yeah. Okay.
And this was, so this is a text, I asked Carson, I said, so what's going on with the fence? You know, and this is a copy of the text that he sent me. So nobody ever thought that this fence was, you know, ordinance approved, you know, it doesn't meet the ordinance. It's not even close. It's not even a question, it's like, oh, well, you know, just this little bit. It's not even close.
Okay, so you got to McKenna, and then McKenna took a look at it?
McKenna took a look at it several times, you know, and then somewhere you know, I do have the letter here, somewhere somebody approved it, like in August. It was in August. And it was a mistake. And they know it was a mistake. Because, so, and I had meetings with the mayor and the police chief up here about it, and they're kind of doing the same thing. They don't want to kick the can is what they want to do, and they put it on McKenna. And I think he just finally got so fed up that he approved it. It should have never been approved. As soon as I found out it was approved, I started calling McKenna, what can I do? I had a meeting in November, and they told me I have to start an appeal process. And then, because they admitted it was wrong, they admitted it. Then Carson contacted me and said, wait, before you start your appeal process, give me a chance to go over and talk to them. He said, would you be satisfied if we took that cyclone fence down and replaced it with a decorative fence? And I said, absolutely. How could I not be? That's all I'm complaining about. Their right to have a fence, I see it. They can have a fence if they want to. If the board says, yeah, you can put a fence there, they have a right to put a fence there. But me, as a neighbor, have a right to say, but that fence needs to be up to code. It has to be a decorative fence. 24 feet from the seawall up, 24 feet, a decorative fence. And then, you know, so they fooled Carson by telling him that, no, we replaced it fence for fence. That fence was an existing fence. The fence was not an existing fence. That fence they put up while I was in Brazil, and as soon as I came home, they knew it was wrong and they took it down. That fence had been gone for 10 years. It was not replacing an existing fence.
So
There's somebody here that lived in that house, I bought from their dad, that can tell you there was never a fence there.
So in 2002, there was a fence?
No, never.
No, there was never a fence?
Nope, dude.
So
Adam?
That's all right, we'll just keep your comments.
in 12, when you got home,
In 12, when I came
processed.
home 2012, there was a
Came
fence
down after
there.
that?
Pardon me?
The fence came down after
Yep,
that?
they took it down. I told them I was gonna come to the city and complain. Matter of fact, before I went to Brazil, I came to the city and asked them to put a letter in my file because I was afraid these people were gonna try to put a fence up while I was gone, and that I oppose it. But I don't think that, even if it was there, nobody's seen it. I don't know if they did put it there, but I knew what they were gonna do. I really did.
So, back to the decorative fence.
Okay.
You're not opposed to a decorative fence going to the berm?
No, I mean, that's what, up to
48
code.
48
I mean, my
48
neighbors,
inches in
so I have neighbors that are, they invest good money. If you come in my yard and you'll look up the street, you'll see a cyclone fence that has been there since 1970. But the people that are coming in and doing new work, next to me and down the street, they're all nice, either wrought iron or PVC, nice-looking fences. And that's what it should be on the waterfront. It should be a nice-looking fence. And that's my issue. The wooden fence that's in the dirt next to my house, I've read on here, I can go through all this stuff. There's not a single person that came in my yard and looked at that from the city that said, oh, that fence is okay. I've got several letters here, which I think I included in there, come from just about everybody saying that a fence needs to go, even Carson.
So the one that's in pieces, like the caution tape and all that stuff, that's still there? Or that's
So
gone?
what they did was those 2-inch stakes that stuck up, they cut them off, and they got rid of the caution tape, and then they came out with green paint, and they painted that particle board green with green, just green paint.
And so in your variance request, that's where you're asking to put a fence in?
So in my variance request, I'm asking, I want, because on that, so then, these guys actually put a surveillance camera on the corner of their house, and then instead of aiming it like 90 degrees to look out at their backyard, they aimed it at me and they put it on motion sensors. My granddaughters won't even come to my house no more. They said the creeper next door is watching them on the computer.
Okay.
So my variance is to put a 6-foot privacy fence, partially so I can block their camera and enjoy my backyard. And I don't know if you guys have driven past, I have a car hauler in my driveway. I've had it it's been there since I've lived there. I've had it for 20 years, which I use. I pull, cars around here and there. And people before me had a motor home and a boat there. So I figured to extend that fence up to the front of my garage would be a benefit. It would cover it all up. It'd give me privacy. It would actually give them privacy. And, but that's not this issue.
Yeah, okay.
So I do have letters here coming from Carson stating that it needs to come out, that they need to start a procedure. Did you guys see those letters by chance?
Yes.
So there's nobody in the city here that has looked at it and said, oh, no, that fence is okay, it just barely doesn't meet. It doesn't meet at all, except for the chain link portion that's from 24 feet up to the house. That part's good, but from 24 feet from the seawall towards the water, it's not up to code. It should be a decorative fence. And it could be very, very nice. With a little bit of thought and planning, it could be very, very nice. But here's one.
Because currently it's even taller than the
Here's,
48 inches.
please
right?
start an enforcement on both counts. Be advised that I anticipate strenuous objections on their part, as they did pull a permit as you requested, but here's the rub. They replaced a non-conforming fence with a non-conforming fence. This is Carson. Similar installations can be found across Gibraltar due to repeated complaints by this neighbor. That's similar. That's like me coming in and saying, hey, I want to build a giant garage, the one you approved down on the end of Bayview. You guys aren't going to go for that, are you?
Yeah, that was a whole nother story.
So they're like, let's see how this plays out. And then they would suggest to Steve, the neighbor, that the two parties split the cost of the ornamental fence. I offered to pay the full cost. Right now, I'm paying the full. I offered to split the cost with Carson. This is months ago. Offered last summer to split the cost. Take this out, put in, I'll pay. I even told them, I'll give you like 10 grand, put it in an escrow account. That was last summer. Because I want a nice fence. My house is my investment. You know, my kids are gonna get my house and my grandkids are gonna get my house. If there's gonna be a fence there, make it up to code. And you know, here's the funny part, is all the time I was talking to the police chief and the mayor, they would ask me, what do you want us to do for you, Steve? And I said, the only thing I want you to do is enforce the ordinance as it's written. I don't want you to rewrite it. As it's written, enforce it. It's simple, and that's why I say this should never be here. When I started calling in 2024, in February, that, oh, these guys are putting up this wooden fence, oh, these guys are doing this. If the ordinance officer or whoever would have went down there and been a little firm, no, you can't do this, no, you can't do this. At any point in time in April of last year, April of 24, they could have stopped all this and prevented it, but they didn't. And I have no idea why they didn't.
But there was some court action taken, correct?
No, not yet.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, tried to keep the emotion and stick to the facts. There's a lot of facts and there's a lot going on there. The bottom line is this. That fence is not to protect her from a dog. That fence is to do nothing. They even told me one day, I went out there painting it. I says, boy, this is nice. And he says, yeah, it's some of my best work. And she looked up and she says, yeah, it's all for you, Steve, just because, she says, now maybe you'll believe in my dog phobias. All this fence is because of her dog phobia. And I don't even have a dog, and I haven't had a dog. So I'm stuck with this painted wooden fence and a cyclone fence, which should have never been there. Here's the, excuse me, when they didn't know what to do, they should have sent them in front of the ZBA because they knew it was a non-conforming fence. Instead of him going, oh, I didn't know what to do except approve it. He should have said, nope, you got to take this in front of the ZBA. They could have done that. I could have come here and voiced my opinion, and you guys could have made your call how you seen it. But they didn't do that. And I'm actually lucky that people told me how to come in and do this appeal, you know. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I know I got a one-time shot, so here I am. And I do have a lot more actual documents that I got from Freedom of Information Act that nobody thinks that that fence is okay. Nope, they just don't want to deal with the people.
Unfortunately, when people don't want to make a decision, they send to the ZBA.
You know, yeah, it's, no, here you are. Well, there you go. You guys are important, aren't you?
That's why we get
I
paid the
wouldn't say
big
that,
bucks.
but
But anyway, that's
Volunteer.
my emotional story right there, you know, a little bit of it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time, would anybody like to speak? Just please come up and state your name and your address and.
Hi, hello, my name's Dennis McNeely. I'm at 30750, this is my wife Sandy. And we are the bums with the chain link fence. I want to kind of set the record straight. There's two things Steve's calling a fence here. One is the little green painted piece of wood. And what happened there is, if from that corner of this arc to that corner of this arc was the side wall of Steve's house, normally you'd run a downspout down that corner and you'd run it out to the street. You'd run a downspout down this corner and you'd run it back to the canal. Steve decided, oh, and I should mention too, our houses are 10 feet apart, and our house in particular is 2 feet lower. Steve turned both those downspouts toward us, so it would come at our house. And so this is not a fence, this is to divert water. The bottom of those pieces of wood are in the ground. We do have a French drain there, I put it there, but a French drain will not pick up concentrated flows, nor will it pick up snow melt, for example, when the ground is frozen. So it's very much necessary to keep water from coming at our house. We have had situations where water would gather in the crawl space under the house and rot the joists. I've had to replace joists.
The
So
whole house is sunk, so we put a French
that
drain.
corner, that piece of the house. So in any event, that's the green wood fence. And unless the city wants to take us to court, or Steve does, that fence is staying there. And it's not even a fence, so I misspoke. It's until he changes the direction of those downspouts. And the city has an ordinance, says you can't change, if we're downstream, we do have to accept water from an upstream neighbor. I understand that.
Excuse, just one second.
Sure.
Jane, we're only dealing with the cyclone fence.
I'm sorry.
Well, Steve
So-
brought up the one.
Yeah, no, I understand,
I'm
but
sorry.
just for the board members,
So,
that's what we're concerned with.
Let's go to the
Can I-
cyclone fence.
Okay, can I say something? Because
Go ahead.
I'm a retired teacher, couldn't have kids, so my kindergarten kids are 50s and 60s, very close. When we moved in, we loved Steve. When Steve was single, I spent all my food. He has 3 grandbabies. I would buy them gifts and toys. We got along for 10 years. 10 years. Told him that under the ADA Disability Act, I'm a licensed psychologist, which didn't help. And I said to him, if a dog is on a leash, I'm okay. If a dog's hold, I'm okay. But if a dog comes toward me, he can't catch me. I fall. And most of the time, I hit the cement or something, and I get concussions. It's under a Disability Act that there's no way I can control my body when a dog runs towards me. This all started because his friend dog came over, and by the 5th time I fainted, I went to the police. They called him up and said, $75 fine, we'll take the dog away. And he said, well, it's not my dog. He says, it's on your property, it's your friend, you will put it on a leash. Thank God it's on a leash. But now the bullying starts. From that moment on, we had nothing. When he asked us to take the fence down, we're new. We put up the fence. It was approved. If you go and look at the cyclone, was approved. He promised us he would keep the dog on the fence. So we put the fence down and we kept all the wiring and in the garage and put it there. Again, that happened. The police called them. That problem came up. We put the fence back and they said, if you put it back, we're going to charge you another 150, what do you call that? Another 150 for the permit. And so we did it. We got the fence back.
And what year was this?
2 years ago, has it
Okay.
been? Okay.
So 24?
24, I want to say, okay. And so we put the fence back. Well, from then on, while we're putting the fence off, all of a sudden my decorations in the backyard are gone. We know it's Steve, can't prove it. But the chief is the one that said, I want you to put, and it costs us money, remember, to put a camera in the front and camera in the back for protection, so you can feel comfortable in your backyard, so you have protection so a dog can't enter your home anymore. If you took pictures, I'm sorry we didn't, if you look back, there's a cyclone on the left and there's a cyclone on the right. It looks very nice. We have flowers on it. We've made it look very nice. We complied with the city. Not once did we go against the city. The letters that he's talking about, Carson once never said he would pay for anything. Carson did say, well, do half the decoration. Half. I said, well, that's ugly. We had a fence on this, and I don't want half decoration, half cyclone. And he said, well, that's up to you. He never once said that Steve would pay for anything. He never once said that this fence has to come down. I work for undercover cops. I work for judges and treasurers. I grew up with the city department. I believe in the government. I believe what's right and wrong. It's just because, as he liked to say, how dare you call the police on me? He has made life hell for us for 2 years, and we've said nothing. We've just let it go. Steve goes around bullying everyone, telling how bad we are. We're average, retired people, and we just want peace and quiet. There's nothing wrong. If you come and look at the fence, it's coordinated right. We've lowered it even more than it was. There's nothing wrong with the fence. We got the $150 permit, so the fence is there.
Okay,
Okay, I'm just trying to, okay.
So, just to go back real quick, the history of the cyclone fence. We installed a cyclone fence after we got a permit from the city. The post holes were inspected, the fence was inspected, we had a boundary survey, it was all done according to Hoyle. It was installed. And at that time, there was no decorative fence requirement. So Steve then said, he doesn't have a dog, but he said he would make sure that his buddy's dog remained on a leash. He didn't. And in addition to that, there were some other dogs wandering around. We called the police, and they said we no longer have the ability to enforce that ordinance. I get that. So we're gonna put the fence back up. And I figured same post holes, same everything, so I put the fence back up. Then the city said, you need to get a permit. We got a permit, the city gave us an approval, and there lies the fence. There is no nefarious activity here in terms of our trying to sneak something under the radar.
And Carson did come and talk to us. He said, Sandy, in between, it's not real close between cycle fence are okay. In between, as we had this put back on, he then said, well, we have a new decoration fence that's supposed to be implemented. But because you got the fence up and because you paid the $150, we're gonna approve it and let it be. If Steve thought this was an ugly fence, if there was something, if you went and looked at it and thought there's something structured wrong, then I can see him complaining. There's nothing wrong with this fence. The only problem is that Steve is mad because I called the police on him. He's mad because he doesn't like cyclone fence. And he's determined the whole, and that's his whole motto is for us to move. He's made life hell. I can't even go into other things that we don't want to. But for 2 years, he's hoping he would. And the sad thing of the catch-22 of this, as soon as we move and put someone in, the first thing he's going to say, I want you to tear that fence down. And that's what they want. So the whole purpose of this, he doesn't want a fence there no matter what.
And I suppose, just to wrap up, a decorative fence, if you're standing and looking at a cyclone fence, for the most part, you see through it. There's maybe, 3-4% opacity? A decorative fence can be up to, well, not quite 50%, but close. 50% opaque, there we go. I don't see how that accomplishes what Steve wants. That's just gonna further obscure his view of the river. And, it's kind of like whatever. Sandy would love to have a picket fence there.
I'm saying, okay, picket fence.
But that's not the point. The point is, we tried to do this all according to Hoyle with the city. We put it in accordance to the law as it was. We took it down because Steve said the dog would not be let loose of the leash. We put it back up because it wasn't kept on a leash. City said, get a permit. We did. We got approved, and here we are.
Just a thought of someone taking that fence down now is giving me sleepless nights. I have worked my life to have kids in 50s, 60s. I have citizens who have kids, with grandkids, and I love it when they say, Miss Kay, I'm having grandbabies. And I go, hey, I'm not that old yet. And I love it when they say, and I've worked for Judge Southern and Judge Aceta. I worked for the courts. I worked for undercover cops going through college. I did everything right. So why at 76 can't Steve just realize, I'm sorry that we called the police on him. He doesn't understand that. I'm sorry that he doesn't understand what a phobia. He thinks it's a joke. When the neighbors come and run into my yard, he thinks it's a joke. It's not a joke, guys. Phobias are very serious. And I don't want to spend my night thinking about, you want me to turn a fence down. And we're retired and we're on a budget. And for us to spend another $150 is a lot of money. And so we're asking you to reject his claim under the condition that I have a DAA Disability Act. There's nothing wrong with the fence, and I ask that we keep it, and that he deals with what it looks like. And I'd love you to go see the fence if you feel that there's something wrong with it.
Are you opposed, and tell me if I'm wrong, but he offered to put up and pay for a decorative fence. Did I hear that right?
Not us, he said.
Steve, when he was speaking.
Never said that to us, never.
Sandy.
Today, yes.
Okay.
Today he said that. We never heard that. We did hear that McKenna, what was his name?
Carson.
Carson, there we go. Indicated that his company would pay for a decorative fence.
Half the fence. So it'd be
So-
half cyclone, half decorative. It doesn't look good.
So, well, and aside from that, then comes the whole issue of, okay, you paid to put the fence up, now who's maintaining it? And did you wind up getting a 1099 because somebody put up a fence for you? you know, and there's a lot of other little nuances here, but the bottom line is, we didn't try and do anything out of bounds here. City said get a permit, we got a permit. City said it's approved. And we're trying to take care of it. And if, as Sandy said, if you want to come by and have a look at it, please do.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
At this time, is there anybody that would like to speak regarding the appeal? I remember you guys.
My name is Gary Sullivan. I live at 30730 Bayview. We're Steve's neighbor to the other side. I was just looking at this plat plan from the Army Corps of Engineers, and I see the berm kind of runs between their yards. And just from building our residence, I was under the impression you're not allowed to touch the berm. You're not allowed to put a fence, you're not allowed to build on it. You could build a deck over it, but you can't put a fence, you can't disturb the berm. So our builder even said, we can't touch the berm. So if there's a fence on the berm, that's a disturbance of the berm. And that's why you could build over it, but you can't build through it or on it or anything. So regardless of how each side feels, I just think that a fence on the berm is a violation of the ordinance. Just period. That's the only thing I have to say over the whole thing.
Okay, thank you.
My name's Sue Onity. I'm at 30730 Bayview. Steve is the neighbor. And Steve has been there 22 years. And as when we came up here before, it started as my parents' cottage prior to that. So I've known Steve for a very long time. And I can honestly say that he is not the type, he's the type of person that would take his shirt off and give it to somebody. He's not a brute, or he's not a mean person. He would never do anything to hurt a neighbor or to piss off a neighbor, to be honest. And since I've been living there, I've noticed a lot of changes in between the houses. And I hang out on Steve's back or water side, and it is a little awkward looking and having a camera pointing at you the whole entire time that you're sitting back there, whether you're in a bathing suit, your clothes. It's just not a comfortable feeling to have it shining right on you. And the other thing I wanted to comment on is the dog situation. I know who she's speaking of, whose dog it is, and the dog, since he was asked to have them put the dog on the leash, that dog, I have never seen that dog one time not on a leash. So I don't know where, I mean, obviously prior to, the person never had the dog on the leash. But since he was asked to make sure that that dog is on a leash, I've never one time seen that dog come in that yard not on a leash. That's all I have to say.
I just wanted to add one more thing about the fence and it being on the berm. And if in fact they have to remove the fence, or the city has to, or somebody has to, obviously there's an expense to be incurred by somebody. I don't know who, I don't know if it's a city thing or who approved the fence. I don't know who is responsible for the cost, but I would hate to see, any resident have to incur the cost of removing the fence if it was a city's error in letting them build the fence. I mean, but that's my only comment.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. This time, anybody else comments? Let the record show that we had public opinion. Jane, the million-dollar question is, can you, I don't know, can you put a fence on a berm?
I don't know of any regulation in the zoning ordinance specific to the berm. There might be language outside of the zoning ordinance. And the engineer might have preference and design standards. So I can't speak to that million-dollar question with 100% certainty. I think that the question of the berm is, I don't want to say irrelevant, but almost the consideration can be made with the zoning standard language, which is what this board's purview is on.
So basically, what we have is a non-conforming fence that was constructed, that was approved by mistake. You know, somebody goofed, and, you know, that's what we have.
We've been there before.
Yeah.
When you say non-conforming, okay, we've got to remember how ordinance are changed, right? It takes time. And in the time we put the fence up the second time, they were just changing it to decoration type fence. So in that middle, the chief came out twice to see us. Carson came out twice. And then the mother, he says, you know what? This is like nitpicking. You got the fence up. We should have stopped the guy from forcing you to pay the $150. But since he has paid the $150 and the permit has gone by, and it matches the fence on the left, and it looks nice, I wish you would see, it does look, that it should be declined in the sense that we've been there a couple of years. It's not an ugly fence. I think that it shows that we did the right thing, and if it's going to be a decorative fence, it could be later on, unless Steve wants to pay for a whole decorative fence, which I know that's not true. But in the end, I think if you look at the fence, it's not a hindrance. It looks really nice and clean, and I think it would justify to keep the fence the way it is and reject this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you guys probably know that ordinance did not just get changed. I think that ordinance has been there since the 1990s. It wasn't, the fence they put up in 2009 when I was in Brazil didn't meet the ordinance requirements, and this fence here doesn't meet the ordinance requirements. Here, you know, the city's own online stuff is that the first thing you have to do is obtain a permit. And to obtain a permit, you go and you pay a fee, you submit a plan. None of that stuff was done. The plan should be approved by the building inspector. That was not done. They put the fence up and then started pressuring for an approval. And, you know, that's it. It just, nothing is right about that fence. And as far as the dogs go, I don't know, you guys know Al Pruitt, his little white dog? That's the dog. It's not my dog. I don't have a dog.
So you're not opposed, I mean, because to putting in a decorative fence?
No, when I submitted this next variance, and I just put from 24 feet back out to the street where I want to go, is because I thought that McKenna and Associates were talking about putting in a decorative fence for the 24 feet. You know, that I spoke with Carson, you know about that, right? I have your name on emails back here too.
So,
So McKenna and Associates has already admitted they made a mistake in allowing that fence to go. And I came in and put in a permit to build the privacy fence because it's going to benefit me and them both. And I will do the 24 feet to the water if need be, but I kind of thought that Carson and McKenna were going to stick with the deal that they had talked about.
so if you put your, if you go ahead and put your fence in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you go all the way to the water, we can forget about the cyclone fence, right?
Well, they have to take it out because it's too tall. I mean, remove it.
Right.
Yeah, remove it, and then you can, forget about it. I mean, their cyclone fence from the point of 24 feet from the seawall forward to the street is fine. The wooden fence, that's not, I have other codes, I won't hit you guys with them, I'll start that next week. But that does not even, that wooden fence that's painted green does not fall under the criteria of even a decorative fence for planting your flowers
Yeah,
around
that's
your
really the
house.
building department's problem.
Yeah, well,
You know, so.
so, anyway, just that, you know, that ordinance was not something that was just changed. That ordinance has been in effect for decades. And,
Okay,
that's-
thanks.
Not to preempt you, Chairman McCarthy, but I just want to remind the body that the question at hand is whether or not the decision is appealed. So regardless of what happens after this, if a decorative fence is installed or what happens at that point, really the only question on the table right now is, was that permit issued erroneously previously? And then the rest is for everyone else to figure out. But for this board, that's the decision tonight.
Yeah, I think there's a lot going on here, so there's.
So the question is,
Above our pay grade for
Thank
sure,
you,
one of
yeah.
the erroneous stuff, you're right.
so I
Absolutely.
think, do we all agree that the permit was issued erroneously?
It seems to be.
Correct.
I agree.
Okay. And do we agree that the fence is non-conforming?
Correct.
Yes.
I agree.
When there's email that says they replace a non-conforming fence with a non-conforming fence. So if we go, yeah, it's just, this is gonna be a multi-step process here.
Yeah, because.
They'll have to come back, I assume. But current on the table.
Yeah, I guess if you have a non-conforming fence that was erroneously approved and was built without a permit.
Correct.
So we have a fence, no permit, an erroneous permit approval, and non-conforming.
Correct. And if I'm not mistaken, he wants to get a variance to bring the fence out along the side of the garage, right?
Oh,
That's
something-
different, another-
yeah,
That's good, yeah, I was gonna say,
that's to
what-
see.
Perfect, let's go.
So if we're gonna, the bottom line is, a yes vote would say the fence goes, a no vote says the fence stays. And, you know, and I'm sorry about, you know, the
Backstory.
mistake with with the building department. It's not the first time, but it doesn't happen too often. So that's the question, guys.
Yep. So how does the motion read?
I would say the motion would read to
Approval of
approve
appeal?
the appeal, to approve the appeal of the cyclone fence.
Yeah, approve the appeal to overturn the administrative decision to approve the cyclone fence.
Katie, get that?
Get that, Katie?
Hold on one second.
Thank you. Keeping the verbiage correct.
To approve the appeal to overturn the administrative decision of the cyclone fence at the address 30750
At
Bayview.
30750 Bayview.
Okay, I got it. Somebody like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
I guess I'll second it.
Call for the vote.
Any other discussion? Okay. Harris,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Eager.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I apologize for what happened, but unfortunately, the fence is not conforming.
I raised my hand just a second ago.
We closed the public discussion.
The fence that's there, the cyclone fence, is doing a job right now. When Steve gets his new fence up, we'll take the fence down.
That's fine.
That's a building department issue, correct?
That's between them guys. Yep.
And not to kick the can down the road, it's just there's different parties involved. That's not what we're trying to do.
Okay, last one for tonight is the variance request for Steve at 30740 Bayview. You want to come up and tell us what you like to do?
That's me again.
Lucky you.
So, yeah, as the ordinance is written, I'm entitled to be able to put a privacy fence from 24 feet from the seawall, and then between the house up to the front of the main residence is how the ordinance is written. And my thoughts are, is the waterfront homes are a little backwards from normal neighborhoods where the home is in the front and the garage is in the yard. And I would like to bring the privacy fence not to the front of the main residence, but to the front leading edge of my garage to, for privacy along that whole property line, even cover up their green wooden fence and move on with life.
And that would be a 6-foot fence?
That would be a 6-foot fence.
And so we're looking at 3 different proposals
So
here?
there's 3 different proposals. I don't even know if I have them with, can I take a
got
little
it.
peek?
Proposal 1 is a 72-foot privacy
That's the main one right there.
and a 24-foot decorative.
Yeah, like a 40-inch decorative from the end of that up to the lot line in the front of the house.
You can go 48, right? Yeah. So,
And then B, if you weren't gonna let me go to the front of the garage, B went like a little bit beyond the main residence. I think, proposal B.
Yeah, 60 feet.
Yeah, and then C, I believe, was if you guys said no fence and a berm. That was my proposal for no fence and a berm.
Well, you'd have a gap there. Especially if that decorative fence goes in, it'll be a gap.
One
Correct.
one is the one I'm shooting for, from the back of the house to the front of the garage. And I think it would be good for, everybody involved.
Except this board.
Except that board. So, not to use this as an excuse, but I did drive around the neighborhood and I didn't write down any addresses, and there's several examples of the same situation. And like I say, it is because the main hardship is because the garage and the home are reversed. If it was, if I was back on Young Street, it would be no issue to do that. But because the garage is in front of the house, you're limited. And I understand the reasoning for it, but then on the other, I understand, what I'm looking for,
okay, Jane, for the 72-foot privacy and the 24-inch decorative, what's the I'm looking at this, do we have any measurements for what we can do?
In the terms of the language for the requirement?
Right.
Yeah, give me one. Oh, I just hit the wrong thing.
I don't see any numbers.
Let me pull it back up.
Decorative fencing is allowed in the front yard.
And I did not include numbers in the report because of the 3 various proposals.
But as long as he's
So the,
24 feet from the the decorative fence can go all the way to the water.
correct. Well, this is to the street.
Okay, but
So there's no proposal on the, beside that, about 6 foot from the, 6.5 feet from the back of the house to the water, that portion of privacy fence. The rest of it is street side.
okay.
So the initial proposal 1 would come, the privacy fence would encroach in the front yard 36 feet.
He wouldn't need a 36-foot variance, would he?
Yes. There is no privacy fences allowed in the front yard.
Past the front of the, past the.
Has to be decorative, correct.
Okay. I spent so much time on the first one, I kind of
Do you want me to give you measurements for the other three proposals, or are you sufficient
close
with the?
enough. So we can't go, the main residence.
Right.
Correct, is the front yard delineation.
All right. And I think if I'm looking correctly, or if I remember correctly, Steve's house is farther,
It is further
To the
set
street.
back. The neighboring houses have attached garages that project further forward because his garage is detached. That's where that footprint gets altered. So the other houses, while their garages are attached, their garage does come further than his front yard delineation. So like the neighboring house has an attached front garage.
so they can go to the garage.
Correct, because that's all part of the house structure.
Proposal 2 basically puts them in line with each other, say like the bed, this
Right there.
part of the garage, this one,
See that?
Jim.
That drawing helps out better.
Correct, because that's their house here, the edge of their garage.
Setback or whatever, yeah.
It's in the pink, this would be the fence proposal. Yeah,
Just saying. If we want to be candid.
yeah, I mean, it would-
You wanna be
I think, we've been having issues with, views.
yeah, and that'd
Absolutely,
be
that's
concern
why it's
on
like-
people driving, backing out of driveways, whatnot.
You got it. Unfortunately, that's not too uncommon right
Yeah.
now with us.
So proposal 2 would be a little more in line,
Correct.
Closer.
sort of what we need to
And
do.
that puts them in line with the garage next door.
And that would be approximately 24-foot encroachment.
From his house. Right.
So he
But
would need
still
a-
lined up with the neighbor's garage.
Correct.
Frontage, or setback, however you want to word it.
Yeah, frontage of the residence, correct.
Frontage, setback, yeah. Front setback, that's,
So he would need a 20-foot variance.
24-foot.
Foot variance.
that's a lot.
That's big.
That's huge. 24 foot. You can put a camper. Yeah. 18-foot camper next to that.
I guess, has to come to hardship, correct?
Yeah, but that's not. Sorry, Gene, proposal 1, what was the?
36 feet.
Thank you. That was it.
So we're 36, 24.
And then,
And the proposal 3 is also 36
36,
as
same
it
thing,
goes
yep,
to
go to
that
the front of the garage,
front
right?
of the garage as well.
I got a question. Let me ask this. Is there any reason why you wouldn't go 12 foot instead of 24 variance? Instead of going as far as you did, like just go to where the garage starts? Yeah, I'm just curious.
I didn't want to necessarily go here, but I'm going to go here. So I have an issue with people coming in my driveway and her approaching people in my driveway. There's a long stretch between my driveway and my house where people have to walk through. My daughter comes over with her kids, she'll run out there and bug them. People come over, she'll run out there and start saying stuff to them. The reason, and I didn't want to put it on like reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, but the reason I'm asking for this privacy fence is I need to separate myself from this. I can't have my friends coming in my driveway and my neighbor running up on them. My daughter coming up in my driveway and the neighbor running up on them. I need privacy, and that's why I want to go all the way up to the front of the garage. And as far as obstructing views or anything, my garage is already like 45 feet off the road, so that end of that fence is gonna be 45 feet off the road, something like that. Because I have to measure for storing my boat. And so even if you do proposal 1, the end of that privacy fence is 40 feet from the road. It's not gonna obstruct anybody's views backing out of their driveway, driving down the street, or doing anything. It's actually the house built next door to me, that garage even extends out beyond, so proposal 1
But this
is
also goes
not gonna
back to, but it also goes back to your argument from their fence. These proposals were written in place long time ago for a reason.
Well, and I understand that.
So
but
it goes back,
I'm, for that last one, but
You see.
this one here, I guess I'm just trying to show the hardship of why I need it.
Absolutely.
And-
You're doing
and like
fine.
I
You're
say,
doing
no, like I say too, now if that garage were attached to the house, I'd be able to go there, no
Mm-hmm.
question. It would be completely legal, but because there's that 12-foot gap there,
That
now it's
breezeway,
a
yep. Mm-hmm.
different ballgame. So I'm just thinking, realistically, was that ordinance actually written considering waterfront homes where the garage would be in the front of the house? I don't necessarily, maybe there needs to be a separate one for waterfront homes in a situation like this. I don't know, but if you go drive by, if you even wanted to table that and go drive by and look at it and check it out for yourselves, yeah, but that's my story.
Great, thank you. So, I mean, if you want to,
He's not wrong in asking, right? I mean, obviously.
the hardship is.
Yeah, the hardship is the
Neighbors,
neighbor,
fences make good neighbors.
neighbor talking to him is, it's not hardship. Hate to say that.
Unless it becomes a police issue.
There.
Again, my name is Gary Sullivan, 30730 Bayview. I don't see a conflict if he just goes to the end of the garage, because he's not extending past our house, we're building, and our garage, I think, sits a little further towards the street than his does. And I think if he were to extend to the end of his garage, he would also hide a trailer, that he has something in a utility trailer. It would completely hide that, in defense of his other neighbor. It would, instead of, going 12 feet, so the neighbor would see half a trailer, half a privacy fence. At least this would be a uniform, kind of a uniform look.
The
And
trailer sitting
that's
there is
it.
not a hardship, though.
Pardon?
Trailer sitting there is not a hardship. It can't be. 'cause the trailer
No,
doesn't
it's not a hardship, but it's a unique situation because
You have
he
to
has
look
a detached garage, which puts him at a disadvantage compared to our house being built with an attached garage. That's everything.
All right, thank you.
Dennis McNeely, 30750 Bayview Drive, next door neighbor to the south. I don't know what the hardship is being discussed here. It sounds like maybe somebody, Steve, is bringing up my wife talking to people. That doesn't happen. She doesn't want anything to do with Steve at all, ever. And that presumably should have been obvious here. There is no hardship in that regard. I'm not telling you how this thing should go one way or another. Hardship is not part of it if that's what the hardship is. Second thing is, since we're talking about the fence and the construction, I want to make sure that the fence in the back, the decorative fence to the water's edge, goes to the water's edge and it's 4 feet high. So it's not a 2-foot high fence, because we need to have dog protection, okay?
Sure, understand.
And then the last thing is, out in front, this is kind of not a huge issue, but it seems like going all the way out to the front of the garage creates a Berlin Wall, and it seems a little bit over the top. So it just, something different maybe called for there, but that's entirely your bailiwick.
Okay, thank you.
Jane, real quick, decorative is allowed all the way past the front, right?
To the street.
That's what I thought. Yep.
If you want, I mean, proposal 2 would cut it back to 24 foot.
Yeah. So the end of their house.
How high would that be, I'm sorry?
6 feet.
From here?
Correct, Jane, I'm right. Hey, Jane, 6 feet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 6 feet.
So from my house to his house facing each other, it's going to be 6 feet going across?
Correct.
Why can't it be like, isn't a decorative fence only supposed to be 48 inches high and then across down to 12 inches? Where
Between-
did 6 feet come for a decorative?
It's a privacy fence.
Yeah, it's a privacy fence. Between the houses, he can put a privacy fence up currently.
Between the
without
houses.
a variance.
Right.
Currently, without a variance, he goes to building department, he can put a 6-foot privacy fence up between the houses.
Oh,
He's
you
asking
couldn't-
for an
If you're going to make
extension.
it that high, then can you stop it? Our houses are the same coming up to the same.
That's not our call. That's a rule. The building department allows for him to build a 6-foot fence
Oh,
from
no,
the
I
front
said
of his
that. I
house
said-
back, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, when it comes to the house, where our house is Eden, so it doesn't look like an eyesore that goes
Well, that's what
down.
we're discussing here. That's what we're gonna try to figure
I'm
out.
sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You guys are all fine. Everybody's doing fine. The problem is you guys have a problem, and that sucks. I've been there. I had a bad neighbor once.
Just something to think about. Do we have a meeting scheduled for next month?
I mean, not yet.
I mean, if you guys wanted to table it. Are you in a hurry? Is this,
Good with tabling it for a month if you like. I encourage it so you guys can come out and look and see for yourselves. And see, I really don't think a 6-foot fence would be an issue, but,
I guess, I'm kind of favoring proposal 2, just because it's a little less.
Yeah,
It's a lot less.
12 feet less.
And, I don't know if you feel comfortable with that, or if you want to go look at it and see if it blocks the east or the north-south view. I mean,
I just don't see how, his garage is there, so it's not blocking any view. It's before, it's half of the garage are up, right? So we're not blocking any view from the side this way. That little, it's his yard.
yeah, I don't see a problem.
You're not blocking a view
Yeah.
that way, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a whole nother,
And dude's got enough to
well,
do it.
that's,
So
you're
just remember
you're
that being said.
a whole
So
different story.
gotta play.
We just know from the last meeting where these fence issues go. Does this fix further problems for between,
Or does it create more, right?
You see, I mean, I don't see a problem with if you go here, but but your 36-foot variance, the next one's coming in.
yep, it's coming, exactly.
So
If we do there, comes
that
that to the
gives him
house.
privacy here.
Yeah.
Their garage. Puts us right in there.
Well, that was, yeah.
Taking away and then giving. It's like slam,
Yeah.
shake your hand. You see what I mean? And that's the only thing. And it is going the same as ours. Old rules. And
You
it's
wanna table it, or?
case. I mean, I think tabling it might be the best thing to do. I really do. He's okay with it. They're not in a rush that their fence is blocking the dogs right now. Everybody's okay with tabling this? The two parties involved? Perfect. I feel good about that, you guys, if you guys are all okay with
You
it.
want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to table this
I'll second that.
till next month.
They
Next
won't
month?
have to pay a fee or anything.
No. So the next meeting would be on August 26th. Okay. I'm sorry, who seconded?
I second it.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion?
No.
Okay. All right, Harris,
Yes.
McCarthy,
Yes.
Olson,
Yes.
Eager.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so the motion is to table it to the 26th, and we can all get over there and take a look and see where we're going. Any other business, old business?
Make a motion to end the meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need a second.
Need a second?
Oh, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say
All in
aye.
favor, aye?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
All righty. Yep, turn your mics.